All right, everybody. So, if you guys have been paying attention to the presidential race over the last week and a half, then you know that Kamala Harris has made an absolutely amazing move in the world of politics. She selected Tim Walz as her VP. This guy is a veteran, an astronaut. Like I forgot his entire resume. But it's like Johnny Sin's resume, okay? It's actually wild how many extremely cool, respectable positions. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's an astronaut. Am I mistaken there? Or was that someone else? My bad. No, is he? Maybe I might be thinking of someone else. My bad. He's not an astronaut, is he? Oh yeah, no, he was in the military though. My bad. I'm thinking of someone else. My bad. Very high ranking in the military. I was thinking of Mark Kelly, yeah. Mark Kelly was one of the other suggested VP options. I got that mixed up. God, Democrat politicians just tend to be so much cooler than Republican politicians. Republican politicians, like, you look at their resume and it's like strip club owner, fraudster, professional rapist, priest, like grifter, and then Republican politician. You look at the average Democrat politician, it's like grew up in a low-income home, worked their way through school, joined the military and became high-ranking veteran, went to space, was a football coach, was you could go down the list, right? It feels like Democrats in politics are almost always, and it's obvious just based on their resume, more accomplished, better people than the average Republican. It's so consistent. And because of this, I feel like Tim Walz being such a cool guy, the whole football coach and veteran thing, and how well he's handled his policy making in the past, the Republicans are really scrambling to find anything they can to attack him with. And their attacks against him so far have been downright embarrassing. Almost basically just lighting themselves on fire and jumping in a pool of acid, basically. That is how self-destructive the arguments against Tim Walz have been from the Republicans. Let me give you guys a little bit of an example here. Trump trashes far-left VP pick Tim Walz, says dim ticket will turn America communist immediately. Former President Donald Trump warned Wednesday that Vice President Kamala Harris and her VP pick, Tim Walz, will take the United States straight into communism if they win the 2024 election. Guys, don't get me excited with the promise of a good time. Come on, man.
There's never been a ticket like this.
Trump, who is 78 years old, reminder, by the way, he is the old man, said during an appearance on Fox News.
Fox and Friends.
After Harris chose the Minnesota governor as her running mate.
This is a ticket that would want this country to go communist immediately, if not sooner.
The Republican presidential candidate trashed his Democratic rivals just hours after Elon Musk, too, slammed Harris, calling her quite literally communist. I can't really do a Musk impression. I don't know why, but I completely lack the capability of a Musk impression. I'm so sorry, guys. But, God, my eyes are, watery and crusty today. Jesus. Well, I must have gotten some soap in my eyes when I was showering before stream today. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna be honest, you guys probably don't mind that much. Anyway, elsewhere in the interview, Trump took aim at Walz, a darling of the left, and insisted he was thrilled that the Democrats had picked a progressive candidate to complete their presidential ticket.
He's a very, very liberal man,
the former commander-in-chief said.
He's a shocking pick, and I'm thrilled. I could not be more thrilled.
He bluffed, I should add. If you look at his record with no... Oh, sorry. I almost read Trump's quotes like a normal person.
If you look at his record with no walls, no security, let everyone in, he's worse than they are. You know, nobody knew how radical left she was, but he's a smarter version of her,
Trump added, referring to Harris.
If you know the truth, he's probably about the same as Bernie Sanders.
Just selling me on this guy more and more with every sentence.
He's probably more so than Bernie Sanders. He's more so than Bernie Sanders,
He says again, repeating himself.
That's got to be your guide, Bernie Sanders, and that's not a great guide.
Trump doubled down as he ripped the Midwestern governor's far-left record, dealing with his home state's stances on everything from migrants and transgender issues to COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter riots.
He's very heavy into transgender. Anything transgender he thinks is great, and he's not where the country is on anything, Trump said. This is a shocking pick, and I think it's very insulting to Jewish people, and I think it's very insulting to people who want security.
He continued.
I think it's very insulting to anything having to do with making America great again.
Oh my god. Have you seen as well? Not only can they not really attack Tim Walz for anything specific, but Tim, they've started calling him, what are they calling him? They're calling him like Tampon Walz or something. It's so weird. There's some really weird, like, yeah, Tampon Tim. Yeah, Tampon Tim. Have you guys seen that? Oh, it's so cringe. Oh, do you know what the story behind that is? Hold on. I knocked my vape over. Tim Walz, Tampon Tim. Have you seen... Oh. It's so cringe when you know why they're calling him this. It's so cringe. Frankly, I'm glad that Democrats are owning this. Watch out, world. Republicans are on the offensive, still smarting from being called weird. It looks like a bunch of GOP strategists are in a room this week to workshop devastating nicknames for Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Tim Walz. After combining their dozen or so brain cells, they came up with a winner, Tampon Tim. The name has been trending on social media as people on the right desperately try to make the hashtag Tampon Tim stick. Apart from the fact that it alliterates, what prompted this moniker? Well, in 2023, Walz signed a... This is why they are calling him Tampon Tim in an insulting way. Prepare to be absolutely gobsmacked. In 2023, Walz signed a wide-ranging Minnesota education bill that, along with a number of other provisions, mandated public schools offer free menstruation products in their bathrooms. They are insultingly calling him Tampon Tim because he signed a bill that mandated that school restrooms have free pads and tampons available for the students and teachers, I guess, as well. Probably mostly the students. I blame Libs of TikTok for that one. Dude, Libs of TikTok has poisoned the Republicans. Like, we're genuinely at the point now where they're proudly screaming from the rooftops that they want children to suffer from a lack of, like, hygiene products, you know? Like, it's like saying they need to take the soap out of the bathrooms in schools because why? Like, he's Soap Tim. Soapy Tim, you know, he signed a bill that mandated that every school bathroom next to the sink have hand soap. What kind of nanny state are we living in? How can we expect these kids to get along in life if they're not expected to bring a bottle of hand soap to school with them? Why should the state provide them with free hand soap? Your child's hand hygiene is not my tax dollars' problem. I could actually see them arguing this. They put a lot of them are actually against seatbelt laws, to be fair. To be fair, I feel like there's actually more... You could make up more of an argument in favor of abolishing seatbelt laws than the case for, like, why it's weird that Tim Walz passed this bill making available, like, feminine hygiene products for free in school bathrooms. Like, that's just good. That's just such an objectively good thing. People are still against seatbelts? Yeah. Dude, I dated a girl when I was 19 that, like, I don't know what her deal was, but she never wore a seatbelt. You know, she drove around like a Jeep. I won't say what color it was, but it was a striking color. It wasn't the average. It wasn't a normal color for a car. You'd be like, oh, that's an interesting colored Jeep if you saw it. But she drove a Jeep, and she never wore a seatbelt. And I'd be sitting in the passenger seat while she'd drive us places. You know, I'd pay for things, but I don't drive, so she'd drive. And I'd be sitting there with my seatbelt on like a good boy, and she'd have her seatbelt off, and I'd just be like, man, if we get, like, T-boned or something, I'm gonna watch my girlfriend fucking die. And I argued with her so much to try and get her to put on a seatbelt, but she never would. I'm obviously not dating her anymore. This is when I was 19, but, like, I remember just thinking, like, dude, we're one, like, moderate car wreck away from me being, like, in therapy for the rest of my life. Because I'll be fine. I'm wearing my seatbelt. But she's just, like, you know, she's going car commando. No seatbelt. And driving fast, too. Like, we're on fast roads. Through the windshield. There are people who ride motorcycles without helmets or any kind of body protection. I mean, that's a little more understandable because if you're already riding a motorcycle, you might as well do away with all other safety precautions because you basically don't give a shit about safety at that point anyway. But yeah, you should wear a helmet and dubious padding. There's clothing specifically for riding. It's just riding motorcycles apparently sucks during the hot months because good clothing for riding motorcycles that's like padded and safe gets you really hot. So it's best to ride during the colder months, and that's why at least people that I know who ride motorcycles like a lot, they do it during like November, December, sometimes October at the like earliest, or January, because they're going to be wearing like so much padding and so much clothes, whether like no matter what the weather is, it might as well be cold. Or I should say cool. My ex-friend had a mental breakdown while driving my car, and she threatened to crash and kill us just to get me to shut up. You know what you should have done, Cammy Whammy? You should have taken the steering wheel, like bent, like reached down, and like pedaled down on the brakes and like steered off into a ditch, like out crazy the crazy, you know? Just like, what would the last thing someone in that situation would expect is for you to just respond by like reaching your foot over, pounding down on the brake really hard, and then just like veering sideways into a ditch. Now, I don't drive, so I don't know if that would work really, but I assume it would. I'm really sorry you went through that, but that's probably what I'd do in that situation, because holy shit, I wouldn't be able to just sit there. I wouldn't be able to just sit there and be in that car. I'd have to put a stop to that. I'd have to take charge. Out of fear, I would have to take charge. Not out of bravery, out of fear. To be clear, this would not be a brave action. This would be an action I would take out of sheer fear of being in the situation any longer. Zan doesn't drive, based. I mean, yeah, I don't really care to learn how to drive because A, like, there's a long list of reasons. The first being, like, owning a car, expensive. Like, buying a car is expensive. Owning a car is expensive. Car insurance is expensive. The threat of, like, getting into a car accident and having to fix or repair any damage or replace anything, expensive. The risk of getting into a car accident and dying or hurting myself, extremely high, scary, and expensive. At this point, it's like, well, I work from home. I live in a very walkable city. Why do I, like, need to learn how to drive? Like, especially when self-driving vehicles are, I guess, kind of like the future, I suppose. You know, and I've got so many friends who drive, and, you know, I'm always willing to pay for gas and stuff, and people are always like, yeah, sounds fair to me. So it's like, yeah, I've never really needed to know how to drive, right? So, pretty happy. Pretty happy with that situation. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of driving. Damn, Lefty Jenna. I don't drive either for basically all those reasons. Parrot's still on my ass and I think I'm older than you. I'm 25, just for reference. But No, I used to get shit from my mom about not driving for like a couple years, even though for a while I was actually the one nagging her to take me and teach me how to drive in like the local school parking lot during the weekend when it'd be empty. And I ended up getting a couple lessons in. Like, I've driven before, to be fair. I've driven stick and automatic. I really, really sucked at stick shift, dude. Oh my god, my uncle had a stick shift truck, and he took me to a high school in Tampa, like the parking lot after school was out, like on a weekend or something, and it was all empty, and I just practiced trying to, like, you know, just trying to, like, switch between the gears at different speeds. Everyone sucks at stick shift for a bit. I played DayZ a fair amount, and every car in DayZ is stick shift, so you have to get used to, like, constantly being ready to change gears whenever you're changing speeds, slower, faster, going uphill or downhill. So maybe, maybe now I'd be a little better. You destroyed the clutch, didn't you? Well, that's what's really annoying, is you have to hold down the clutch and move the stick shift and keep, like, the gas, like, perfectly managed and steer. It's like, it's a lot to keep going at once. I'm not great when it even comes to video games where you have to do that much stuff at once. Like, the amount that I crash when driving in video games, dude. I do not trust myself in real life. You should see me play Grand Theft Auto 5, even with Franklin. Even playing as Franklin, I'm crashing constantly, bro. GTA really helped me with my driving skills, funnily enough. Oh, it will, like, unironically, from what I've heard. But, like, dude, I crash so much even as Franklin. He has superpowers that make him a better driver, and I'm still constantly scraping shit and bumping into things. I'm banned from driving the Warthog when I play Halo with friends. That's so real. Oh, that's so real. Oh my god, I got totally stun-locked here. What? I got so stun-locked in this conversation. Oh my lord. Ugh. Hey, Ethan. You'll have to deal with this, with the stun lock. My bad. Totally my bad. Anyway, as I was saying before, my massive stun lock. It's really crazy to me that just randomly, I've never heard of this guy before Kamala picked him as her VP. This guy just comes out of the woodwork, is insanely energetic. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Tim Walz speaking, but he's insanely good at it. Tim Walz. I actually haven't seen the Vegas event yet, so I actually want to see. I want to see the clips of him in the Vegas event that was the most recent, if I recall correctly, because I haven't even seen this yet, but I think it'll be a good show of just how energetic and what a great hype man for Kamala Tim Walz is. He's, like, really, really good at building hype. Like really good. Watch this. Oh god, copyrighted music. Shit. You know, there's like something on YouTube now where we can use AI that, like, scrubs the music that's copyrighted out of YouTube videos, so we'll have to do that if we want this video to be monetized. Oof.
Wow, wow, wow. Hey.
Oh, they also call him Twitchy Tim as well. They're trying to, like, get that talking point off the ground, but he's just not really twitchy, so it doesn't work, I feel.
Wow. Wow. One more time for Tilly. Thank you. Well, hello, Las Vegas. Now, I know some of you spent the week Googling Minnesota a little bit and to figure out who these Minnesotans were. Here's the one thing I can tell you about us.
He's in Trump's
We spend
walls.
about half our lives talking about the weather. It's what we do. So I want to say thank you to all of the people since I've been here to remind me that it's a dry heat outside.
He's literally John America. That's a great line.
So's your damn oven, but you know, I'm melting like a snowman outside.
That's such a good point. That's actually, like, such a great point from Josco the Bard. He, like, the best way to describe this man is he is literally John America. He's perfect. He is like the perfect candidate.
But look, this is incredible. And I want to say a thank you to a few folks I had the privilege of working with when I served in Congress. You have two of the best senators you could ever hope for. Senator Cortez Masto and Senator Rosen, just as a side note, there's lots of commonalities here. It may not be the weather. We walk on water half the year. It's so damn cold, but that's what we are. But we have something in common. Both Minnesota and Nevada have two women senators, and that's a pretty good thing.
I feel that it's just so important to pay attention to how energetic he is, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, Biden was great on a policy level and is great on a policy level. He's still the president. But, you know, he absolutely did lack the ability to get this much of a riled up crowd. I mean, he did, to be fair. Like, Biden would, like, you know, say something based and the crowd would cheer. But I feel like it was a cheer of affirmation for Biden, less so than a genuine excitement. While when, like, Walz speaks, it's a very clear outburst of excitement from the crowd, you know? I love his smile. Yeah, he just seems like a nice guy. He's got, like, a Santa Claus feel, too. He's a real hard dude to slander, you know? Like, Fox News is going to have a hell of a time finding ways to slander this guy, unless he's got, like, something really bad buried, which I doubt, because he seems like a huggable guy. I don't think. He's been in politics a long time. You know, he's a Midwestern dad, veteran. Like, it's just so difficult to attack him. Tim Walz is a younger version of Joe Biden. Honestly, yeah, he kind of has, like, a little bit of Joe Biden vibes, a little bit. Just more energetic, though.
Huge thank you to Congressman Horsford, Congresswoman Lee, and a longtime friend I served with, Congresswoman Titus. Grateful. The special thank you is for what I'm looking at right here. To every one of you who took time out of your busy lives. You didn't need to be here. There's many things you could have been doing. You chose. You braved 108-degree heat. I can't even believe I'm saying that, just to be here. And I have to tell you, I understand because of the heat, they had to shut the door early and turn thousands of folks away. But don't worry, we're going to be back a lot.
Dude, he's so fucking charismatic and energetic and, like, likable. You can tell the crowd actually really likes this guy, and I like him too. He's just entertaining. He's like, he actually, like, I feel like a presidency for Kamala Harris, I'm training myself to say her name right. Like a presidency for Kamala Harris where Tim Walz is the VP sounds like a presidency where not only are we going to have a constant torrent of based policy decisions, but on top of that, we're going to have like a news cycle that can actually focus on politicians who are exciting without the excitement being centered around how awful they are. You know what I mean? Like Donald Trump has to get all the media focus because he's so awful, right? And so, because like Biden's achievements don't get any attention, right? It's kind of boring, right? I mean, it's good, but it's boring. Meanwhile, like Trump doing an awful thing gets way more attention, right? So I feel that it's nice that we actually have an exciting, good set of candidates here. You know, we'll actually have something to pay attention to that isn't how awful Trump is.
All the things, you got babysitters, you had to do everything. But you came here for something bigger than yourselves for one simple, eloquent, and beautiful reason. You love this country.
I'm going to leave it right there, man. It's just so, he's so good. He's so good. He's so good, man. Republicans are actually delusional if they think they can get him here. They really, really are. I think this is actually, I think I've got a clip of Tim Walz here, actually. Governor Tim Walz. If it was up to J.D. Vance, I wouldn't have a family. Oh, yeah. This is a quote, a really based quote from Tim Walz that I think he did in a news interview, I believe. He's like, he's in the full, like, gaming stream setup here. Dude, would you watch him, like, stream Valorant from here or something? Like, Dude, imagine Tim Walz streaming Minecraft from this setup. We need to get him like a slightly better setup, though. He looks like he's outside his house right now. I feel like we need to get him like a nice, like, darker room, some like studio lighting, you know what I mean? And just, you know, he'll probably need a gaming PC, but I'm sure he could afford that. Like, I think we could get Tim Walz set up with like a pretty good Twitch gaming stream. Could you imagine if like our politicians just streamed like once a week, like a few hours of gaming on Twitch, and just like shot the shit with the chat, like, yo, why don't we have universal healthcare yet? Well, okay, listen, I really want to do that, but here's why I can't. While they're like playing Elden Ring or something. Could you imagine?
Yeah, first of all, it was up to him. I wouldn't have.
Oh, he's on his porch. Interesting spot.
I have a family because of IVF and the things that we need to do reproductive. My kids were born through that that way. And also I make sure that I'm the guys and our folks are investing in prenatal care. We're the ones that are there for universal pre-K. We're the ones that are providing school meals at this. I'm not going to back down one bit on this whole family values thing and it's us. That construct that he's putting out there is absolutely untrue. We're making it more affordable to have children by having paid family and medical leave so that you can go home when your kids are sick and take care of them. Or if you're a dad, I don't have to go right back to work 5 days later after my wife had a C-section because our insurance wouldn't pay for it. We're boosting those things up. There's nothing pro-family other than having women be incubators for their vision of this. And I don't know. Once again, it's weird. I don't want J.D. Vance talking about my family. I certainly don't want him talking about my daughter or my wife. It's none of his damn business. But I said the one thing is we need to talk about how we've invested in families. We have the most generous child tax credit, and it's what Vice President Harris is proposing for the country, that people are poor because they don't have money. And when kids don't have the money on the front end, all of the things that a chain reaction of can't learn, can't go on. So I'll challenge him on that. Where is J.D. Vance's pro-family? He's forcing people to have, not be able to have medical care if they have a bad pregnancy or something. We need to stand in front of that. And again, you don't need me to give a sermon, but try and live one. Try and be decent. Try and help your neighbors. Try and invest in those kids.
God, he's so smart, man. He's so smart, and he's so based. The right's going to have a really hard time finding ways to attack Tim Walz. I genuinely feel as though they're going to have to ignore him. That's the only way they're going to have any success in attacking him. I genuinely feel they can't attack him. They have to ignore him and I guess focus on Kamala, but what are they going to attack her for? I really feel like we're just going to see the next, 87 days until the election? It's just going to be a slow burning away of support from the Republicans over the next 87 days until the election. I think Kamala and Tim Walz's power is going to continue to grow. I was sick a lot as a kid. My mom had to... Yeah, no, there's tons of parents who need to have, ready time off work to take care of their kids because they're single parents. That's a huge issue. Paid maternal and paternal leave is really important. It's an issue the Republicans have been fighting against for a while, and I love the way he words that. Using women as an incubator for their ideology. I think that's how he worded it. Loved that. Loved that. Is there a way to set up a day countdown for the election? I guess I could just add, text on screen and update it every stream, but, I just keep in mind, generally, how many days till the election. Maybe I'll do that, though. That could be neat. Maybe I will. Oh, is it 86 days? My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. Anyway, though. If you enjoyed this segment, or anything I had to say in it, please consider dropping a like. Every thumbs up on my videos, streams, whatever it may be, anything from my channel, no matter when, where, or what it is, really helps my channel a ton, as do comments down below, and subscribing and ringing the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, and you've actually turned on all notifications. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. And of course, consider following my social medias, which are all linked down below in the description, including joining my fan Discord. It's totally free, and it's the main hub of my community. I host gaming events, call-in streams, and watch parties, and announce all my new uploads and streams there, so you really won't miss anything if you join there and have notifications on. And of course, don't forget, if you want to directly support me and you can afford it, please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support the channel, even if it's just by watching and lurking, I really appreciate it, and have a good one.